Yo, what is going on, guys? This is your boy TrevCL, and I am back. After about a month-long hiatus, I am back uploading Pokemon videos to YouTube. I know it's been a while. Like I said, about a month-ish. And hopefully you guys didn't miss me too much, or hopefully you did. Either way. But yeah, I'm back, and I'm just going to say expect a lot of uploads coming up in the next few months, because it's going to get kind of wild with the amount of leagues I'm in, the amount of upload leagues I'm in. But yeah, but today we are back here with a PMC battle. 2 PMC battles, actually. I'm bringing you guys week 6 and week 7 of the PMC in the same week. Did I say week 6 and 7? Yeah, week 6 and 7. Now, the only difficult part about this video is going to be choosing which thumbnail I use, because I have each thumbnail. I could use either thumbnail. I'll probably just use the week 7 one. But yeah, so this week in week 6, we played Serene Grace and her Joylet Liking Rocks. I think that's what it's called, or what the team is called. What her team is called. Yes, the Joylet Liking Rocks. And right now, the standings are kind of jumbled up, or were kind of jumbled up at this point in the season. But I think she was around 4-1 heading into this week, and we were 3-2. So I believe if we won about 3-0, we could actually overtake her in the standings. But either way, just getting a win would be a really big thing here. So if we can get a win here, we can really catch up, and hopefully, if we win, we can win more games, and then reach that #1 seed, which obviously gets a bye, and also gets to play the winner of the 4th versus 5th seed matchup. So hopefully that happens. But just to quickly go over my team, we have a defensive Ground EMZ, Earthquake Lando with HB Ice Rocks and Toxic, I believe. We have a Banded Lucario, just kind of standard there. We've got T-Spikes Toxapex. I think it's like Spadef. Yeah, I believe it's Spadef. Forgive me for being a little bit, for my memory being a little bit faulty, and also if I'm a little bit rusty at recording. Well, it's the first time I recorded in like a month, so again, hopefully you guys can forgive me. We've got a mostly Spadef Tapu Koko with stuff like Taunt, Nature's Madness, Thunderbolt, and Roost. We've got a Spadef Bronzon, which is there for the rocks and the light screen. And then we've got a mostly Fizdef, but a little bit of Spadef in there. Aromatisse that has just your standard Cleric, Wish, Protect, Heal Bell, Moonblast. But let's go ahead and get right into the game, since we have 2 games to cover here today. So she's going to lead off with her Bronzon, or her Weezing. I'm going to lead off with my Bronzon. I just decided rocks, or actually, my bad. I just decided light screen here is the play. Actually, yeah, I don't think I had rocks on my Bronzon. I honestly can't remember. I think I had rocks on either my Bronzon or my Lando T. I can't quite remember. But I'm just going to set up the T-Spikes. She reveals the Thunder Punch, which I thought she might have, as it hits my Toxapex. Also, if I bring up the terrain, it can do some massive damage to me there. So she's going to go into her Weezing as I go into my Aromatisse. And right here, I'm going to go into my Lando T, not knowing what to expect as she goes for the Toxic. So this is all fine. I do have Heal Bell on my Aromatisse if need be. And that's right. So I did have rocks on this Lando, so I don't believe I had Toxic. So I'm just going to go straight back into Toxapex, because I know now that this thing most likely cannot touch me, as it's shown Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, and Flamethrower so far. So I'm just going to fire off a Scald, which actually does 26%, which is kind of impressive for a Toxapex. Right here, she's going to go into her Volcanion and get poisoned, and get the water absorbed back from the Scald. but that's not the biggest deal in the world because we did get the Volcanium poison, which is nice. And I don't want to burn up my Shuka here because I feel like that's very important. So the Earth Power is pretty obvious here. As I go into my Bronzong, then I go back into my Toxapex, expecting the Flamethrower or the Steam Eruption, as she does go for the Flamethrower. And here I probably should have just stayed in and recovered, maybe even gotten a second layer of T-Spikes. But I go into Aromatisse as she does miss the Steam Eruption, and that Steam Eruption is going to be huge, as you'll see later on in the game. So she reveals that she has Flash Cannon. Not really too sure, like, why. I guess if she didn't want to use Steam Eruption PP or miss Steam Eruptions, it makes sense. But you know, Steam Eruption is about the same base, actually a little bit more stronger, and has a chance to burn. But you know, PP and the accuracy are always important. So right here, I'm going to go for a Wish as she goes into her Diancie, and I'm going to go straight into my Lucario. And here I get a little overzealous. Lucario is a really important mon for me in this matchup, as it allows me to check a Sam that has a couple Calm Mind set up, which otherwise I can't check with Banded E-Speed. And so I hastily go for the close combat. It does not kill the Diancie, and then I die to the Earth Power. So that really blows. So right here, I'm going to stay in with my Bronzong. Maybe a little bit of a risky play, but I felt like she wasn't going to go for the Flamethrower. She was just going to go for her best all-around play, which was Steam Eruption, and worked out. So I get the light screen off, and she goes into Zygarde. I'm just going to go for HP Ice as she reveals the coil. So, you know, HP Ice is going to do about a third, which is all I really needed it to do. I just need to make sure that it can't, that the Zygarde can't like just set up for days all over me, which is why I'm packing like Ice Beam on Pex, HP Ice on a couple of my mons, including this Lando, as I go for the HP Ice, and that does a clean 41% as she fires off 1,000 arrows. And right here I'm just going to kill her off with an Earthquake, as it was my best play. She could have gone into Weezing, but you know, I highly doubt she would keep a 2% Zygarde, and Earthquake would hit the Hitmonchan or the Bazam really hard if she wanted to make a like a weird play. So right here, she goes into Hitmonchan, reveals that she's faster than me, so she's a more speedy Hitmonchan, or at least she has a decent amount of speed in it. As I go into my Aromatisse, and she's just going to go into her Weezing, as I fire off Moonblast, and that does a lot. Now here I'm thinking that I could beat the Weezing 1v1, but she does reveal Plane Split as her last move, so that means I cannot beat this Weezing 1v1 with my Aromatisse. However, I make kind of a poor decision here. What I should have done was Wish and get up a little bit more health on my Aromatisse before trying to go into Coco like I do here. I knew Coco was a safe play because she had Flamethrower as her only attacking move, as I kill her right there, but as you can see, because my Aromatisse is rather low, if she is a Calm Mind Zam, she can Calm Mind up on my Thunderbolt here. She actually gets a crit that kills me off. But if she did have Calm Mind, she could Calm Mind up on my Coco, easily live the T-Bolt, and possibly even just sweep. She would have swept me there. But here, she's going to go for the Shadow Ball, get the Spadef drop, and the crit. That was very spooky. Like, if she had gone for a Psyshock there and crit me right there, that would have been game. Right there, she goes for a Reflect. I'm not really sure why. Looking at her commentary, she wasn't really sure why she went for the Reflect either. So right here, she reveals Charge Beam, which is very, very good because she's revealed Psyshock, Reflect, Shadow Ball, and Charge Beam, which means she does not have Recover, which means, as uncomfortable for me as it is to do here, I have to just Poison Stall her all the way down. Now, I don't really like using this strategy, and in all fairness, if it hadn't been for the crit with Psyshock, I would have been able to do this in about 5 turns instead of taking like a full, 8 turns to kill the Sam. And You may be wondering why I made that play of sacking Toxapex. Now, in all honesty, the chances for her critting me are obviously the 6.25% chance. So, but if she did crit me there, then I lost the game. And so I made the safe play, as right here I can just win the game by clicking Moonblast. Yep. And that will be the game. So again, I made that play with Toxapex just because it was my safest play. I could have preserved some differential, gotten a 2-0. I think 2-0 is actually what I needed to do to move into first place, or at least a tie for first place. Actually, I believe she had 8 differential going into this week. It might have been more, actually, so I might have needed more than a 2-0. But again, the safest play was for me to go into my Peck, sack it off, and then go into Aromatisse, click Protect, get the final poison damage I needed to kill it off, and then I could just kill off the Hitmonchan with a Moonblast, which is what happened. So yeah, that was a pretty good game. Really close game. Really came down to the wire. You know, I am a bit sorry about having to resort to, some would call it a mindless, talentless way of winning. But, you know, a win's a win. Sometimes you have to go with strategies that don't necessarily impress people, and I'm certain this didn't really impress anyone. But, you know, a win is a win is a win. But moving on to the next game real quickly, just give me a second. Alright, here we are with the next game, week 7. So going into this week, we are 4-2 at +6. So our differential isn't amazing, but it's not like terrible. Like +6 at when you have 2 more wins than losses isn't too bad at all. But if I want to really get that number 1 spot, I really want to try to get that differential up quite a bit higher, as that'll save me some headaches later on if I have to get into a tie for one of the 3 playoff spots or whatever happens. So right here, we're playing Lavinma, and I think he's usually goes by the Boston Como-Os, but right here he's going to be the Las Vegas Absols, just because he was a replacement for Beige, and they just want them to keep using the team name of the previous owner. So yeah, he'll be referred to as the Las Vegas Absols in this video. But he brought a Volcarona, which is his Z-mover, a Mega Manectric, a Flygon, Terrakion. Actually, Terrakion might be a Z-move user. I can't remember. I actually can't remember now. One of those is a Z-move user. One of them is Super Spooky. Sorry about that. Next we have Gastrodon, and finally we have a Steelix. Now you might see something different about my team, and that is the lack of yellow. Yes, for the first time this season, there is no Tapu Koko, and I think the reason is pretty obvious why there's no Tapu Koko. As you see, he actually did bring all 3 of his available ground types. He brought his Mango Manectric, which could abuse my electric terrain and really put a whooping on my team. So that is the reason I didn't bring Koko. But let me look real quickly. Alright, so I just wanted to take a quick look at my team for this week. So yeah, now I have the team in mind. And first we've got a Shukaberry Toxapex, Shukaberry for the Terrakion, for the Flygon, and obviously his, it's beneficial for his other 2 ground types as well. But it has both Toxic Spikes and Toxic, just because he has a decent amount of floating things like Flygon. I believe he had a Torn T he did not bring. So yeah, that is what Toxapex is there to do. Next we have a Life Orb Lucario with Sword Stance plus dual. It had dual priority with Bullet Punch, and Extreme Speed just because Extreme Speed is the harder hidden priority, and then Bullet Punch is just basically for the TrevCL. Next we have a mostly Fizdef but a little bit of Spadef Lando with a Yachi Berry. That is to help check the Mega Manectric, as I can switch into a T-Bolt, and then I can take an HP Ice. HP Ice will do a little less than 50, I believe, if I calced my Lando spread right. Next we have a Wish Protect Moonblast, a Light Screen Aromatisse, and then going to the end we have a Reflect Bronzong, which is also the rocker, so we have the chance for dual screens here. I didn't want to put them on one mon because I didn't want the burden to be on either of these mons to do both screens, but I did want dual screens, so I was able to fit one screen on each mon, so we'll see how that works out. And then finally, mainly the screens are for the Lucario, or for the first time we are actually bringing a offensive sweeper Scolipede with Swords Dance. I believe Mega Horn, Poison Jab, and Earthquake are my coverage options. Not really sure. I don't think it really matters, as I believe I only end up cooking Mega Horn and Earthquake in this battle. But let's get right into the game. So he leads off with his Manectric. I just lead off with my Lando, as I just go for the Earthquake. I get to judge the damage on this Gastro, see whether it's Fizdef, Spadef, or possibly even Mixed Defense, as I just go into my Bronzong, as I see this is a very opportune time to set up my rocks, which I do here. And right here, I believe I'm going to set up Reflect, and then he's going to click Scald as I click Toxic, so now I have the Gastrodon Toxic, which is great because I don't believe he has any form of Heal Beller, so that means that Toxic's there to stay. So he's going to go into Volcarona as I go into Pex, which means that Volk, whether he has Defog on Flygon or not, that Volk is now at 50%. It's right here. I'm going to set up a Toxic Spike as he Earthquakes, and with the reflected Shuka Berry, that Earthquake literally does 0. Is right here. I go for a Skull to get the burn, as he has Lumberry, so that burn didn't matter too much unless I get another burn here, which I do not, but that's fine because I have Lando T, which unless this thing has HP Ice, or even like Outrage, even Outrage wouldn't do too much, as you see Dragon Claw doesn't even do 30 as I go for a U-turn, and I'm able to just go into my Lucario to pick this thing off, and that is a dead Flygon, so that's the first kill for Lucario. And spoilers, there's going to be a couple more as he goes into his Gastrodon. As I go into my Aromatisse, eat up the Scald. Luckily, I don't think I've gotten burned yet, as I think I just throw up a Light Screen as I do. And, I think I'm going to go into my Bronzong here. I go into my Lando T, excuse me, as he goes for a Heavy Slam, and because Steelix is at -1, that Heavy Slam is not going to do anything at all. It goes into Volk as I just click Earthquake, and Volk dies. But now he gets a free switch into the Gastrodon to possibly heal up. So right here, I'm actually going to go for a U-turn, get a little bit of damage off, and I'm going to go into my Bronzong just to set up the Reflect, as he does get the first burn there, so, he got a burn with Scald. It took quite a few tries, I believe 4, but he got it. So I'm just going to set up the Reflect right there, as the Light Screen, I believe, is going to wear off just right there. I'm going to go back into my Aromatisse because I believe I want to set up the Light Screen again, as I'm pretty sure I'm Light Clay on my Bronzong, which means that I will have more Reflect turns than I did Light Screen turns. As right here he goes into his Steelix as I set up the Light Screen, and right here I'm going to learn that Scolipede is actually a really, really fat Pokemon. So even without the Reflect, that wouldn't have even done like 20. Scolipede is actually 442 pounds, just so you know. I didn't know that. So right there, right here, I'm going to click Earthquake. Not quite kill, but that's fine, as he goes for an Earthquake of his own, and that brings me really low. But I'm just going to click Earthquake again, and down goes the Steelix. Now here I have a little bit of regret of being life orb, as if I was, you know, just like muscle band or something. I probably would have just won the game right here 6-0. But instead I'm going to die to my own life orb recoil. I thought about preserving the 6-0 possibly, but in the end I decided it was just better probably just to kill the Gastrodon if I hit, which I did. So right here he's going to go into his Mega Manectric, and luckily because of the Yachi Berry I'm able to eat up this HP Ice as I go for Earthquake and just kill the Mega Man, and all he has left is Terrakion. And I thought about going straight Luke, but just in case he went close combat, I wanted to go into Bronzong. Kind of surprising he actually goes for Poison Jab. I don't know really why. I feel like if he was going to make a prediction, Stone Edge might have been better. But he goes for the close combat, as actually my Bronzong wasn't like Clay, it was Rocky Helmet. Makes sense. As with the defense drops and the fact that Luke is just strong, I'm able just to bullet punch for the 4-0 victory. And that's just the big differential win we needed, as now we move up to 5-2 plus 10. And looking really good for playoffs. If we can win one more game, that guarantees us, I believe, at least a top 5, maybe even top 3. And if we win 2 more games, I believe we're really good for the first seed, maybe even guaranteed for the first seed. I'm not sure. I'll know after the next video, but yeah. So if we can win one more game, we're in playoffs. If we can win 2 more games, then we're going to be pretty much set to get a bye the first round. And even if we only get one more win, we should still get a bye, I'm pretty sure, as 6-4 would probably be enough to get a bye with our conference records right now. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. I know it's kind of a longer video, but you know, with 2 battles, it's kind of impressive if I was able to do this in you know, this short amount of time, considering some of the usual lengths of my video. Sorry for no editing as well, as I just, you know, didn't really have time. Well, not really, I didn't have time. I just wanted to make sure that this got up as soon as I recorded it. So yeah, apologies about that, but hopefully when I catch up, I can put some good work in editing for the future weeks, or at least the playoffs, if I make those. So this has been your boy TrevCL, and I am signing out. Peace, guys.